Hello chess lovers! In round 5 of the FIDE World Cup in Goa, Levon Aronian had to play against Arjun Erigaisi. Aronian, who won the FIDE World Cup in 2005 and 2017, met the young Indian Grandmaster Erigaisi, who is today one of the best players. So let us start. Aronian opened with e4 and black respond with e5. Now we see a knight to f3 and black responds with knight to c6. After bishop c4 we have an Italian opening on the board, which is very popular again these days. Erigaisi plays now bishop c5. This is a position we see very often in the Italian game. Now we have pawn c3 from white. Pawn c3 is the best move at this point. This move supports later an advance by the d-pawn to the center. We have now knight f6 and pawn d3. Aronian plays a very common variation of the Italian opening that avoid early complications. The advance of the d-pawn comes later. The position now is very equal. Black is now expanding on the queen side with pawn a5. Aronian castles kingside and black responds with pawn d6. Now it comes rook e1 and also Erigaisi castles kingside. We have now knight to Bd2. White wants to transfer the knight to the king sides. These are very typical moves. Now black plays bishop e6 and white plays bishop b5. Maybe he wants mess up the pawn structure of the black player. Now we have bishop a7. The bishop is well placed on this square and faces from here the square f2. Now we have knight to f1 and black plays knight e7. Black also wants to transfer the knight to the king side. Now we have pawn d4 and knight g6, knight g3 and pawn c6. The bishop goes now back to f1 and the black bishop comes to the square g4. Now the bishop pins the knight on f3 and that is quite annoying. Aronian plays here in this situation bishop e3 and Erigaisi takes on d4. Pawn takes back and now black plays d5. In this position white decided to play the pawn to e5. Knight goes back to e8 and the bishop goes back to e2. We have now pawn to f6 and the white pawn takes on f6. Now knight captures on f6. The white queen moves to b3 and the bishop takes on f3. After the recapturing of the bishop to f3, the position is almost balanced but more pleasant to play with the black pieces. Now Erigaisi moves the queen to d7. We have now rook from a1 to d1, and the pawn goes to h6, bishop e2, the rook from a8 to e8, bishop d3, one knight comes to h4, and white plays the pawn to f3 to prevent that the other knight comes to g4. Black responds knight to h7. His intention here is obviously, and white moves the bishop to b1. White plans in this position to bring the queen to c2 or d3. And now the black knight comes to g5. After that move, the knights could capture on f3. Now white moves the queen to c2 as he planned. Until move 26, the position was almost equal, but queen c2 allows the capture of the knight on f3, which would give black an advantage. Instead of the queen move, white should have played pawn f4. Erigaisi missed the capture of the knight on f3 and played instead pawn g6. After pawn g6, the position is completely equal. We have now king to h1, queen to f7, queen to f2, bishop to b8, knight to f1, knight to f5, bishop to d2, bishop to c7, knight to e3, and now the black knight takes on e3, bishop takes back, and now Erigaisi plays king g7. Aronian answered with queen f1. This move by the queen is a mistake and gives black a big advantage. Here in this position, Erigaisi played rook to e6. And with this move, black largely loses his advantage again. We have now bishop g1 and rook from f8 to e8. Here the white rook takes on e6 and the rook takes back. I don't know what in this position the intention of Aronian was to play h3, but he played, and this move is a mistake. Black plays h5 and white queen f2. Black respond with queen to f4. And the white rook comes to e1. That is again a mistake. This move loses the game on the spot. Can you see what Erigaisi played in this position? Yes, it's knight on h3. This tactical hit wins, because the white queen is now overloaded. She has to defend both potential checkmate squares and also the rook on e1. If white captures the knight, black captures the white rook at first. which cannot recaptured by the white queen because she has to cover the mating square on f3. For example, if the white takes, there is a checkmate on f3. So if the white queen cannot recapture, the game is over because black has too much material. In this hopeless position, Aronian did not want to continue the match and resigned here. Thank you, chess lovers, for watching. See you soon.